Hello, and welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part, I believe, 23 of our initial run through the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Last time we started in the Rao Ancient Ruins East. We made our way to the west. We made it to the Grand Stairway. We made it to the Church of the Bud main entrance, and finally to Church of the Bud. And in that, we fought two bosses, another dancing lion, and I believe her name was like Romina. And in that part, we also got the Pest Thread sorcery, or incantation. Looks like that. As you can see, it one-shots these bat creatures. And doesn't have the best range, but its range is serviceable. Definitely serviceable. And damage is also okay. We also got Divine Bird Feathers, which as you can see there is like a spread shot shotgun. We also got the Rotten Butterflies incantation. And you may wonder... Alright, we're gonna have to take him out. Sir, that is not okay. Please die. Thank you. But you may wonder, if we did this area way over here last time, why am I here back in the Shadow Keep? And there's actually three reasons. Ooh. And the first one has to do with up here in the loft. See, you drop onto this elevator, and there's this item. Fire Knight Hilde. So we can take a look at that. They cost 116 FP, and starting from the third line, a spirit who belonged to the Fire Knights, an order which answers directly to Mesmer. Hilde swings a slender greatsword and casts fire incantations. Hilde was a dear friend to Salza the Sage, and joined those who urged that the specimens be preserved. Hildes, or Hildes, or Hildes, who knows, but Hilde's ashes were enshrined as a charm to protect the storehouse. So it says swings a slender greatsword. We actually got one of their weapons, but it was a colossal sword. So when it says swings a slender greatsword, does it mean this? Or is there one that has a greatsword, or is there one that has a light greatsword? Because I can only remember this one with the colossal sword, and then there's a dagger one. But anyway, that's the first thing. And the next few things can be gotten over here at the first floor. And well, we can check out Rotten Butterflies now that I have the FP. We also got Divine Beast Tornado, which that can also be charged. We also got Aspects of the Crucible Bloom, which looked very cool but was not very effective against high mobility targets. But something I mentioned in a previous part was that I'm actually going through the DLC on the second character as well. Not recording it, but I'm mostly playing online, helping other players, so that way I can better learn the areas. And there are two things very quickly that I got. The first was back in the church district. You see, we got Fire Knight Quiline. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But it was a guy, he was on the ground, like, begging for help. And we gave him an Eye of Grace. And that got us the Fire Knight Quiline Spirit Ash. But on the other character, I gave him the Eye of Occultation, and we got his weapon, which was, I believe, a heavy thrusting sword that did physical and fire damage. So that was pretty neat. Second thing was, he's not here on this character, and I sadly didn't record it. But after talking to Freya, I went back and talked to Sir Ansbach, and he had some more dialogue. And he basically just chuckled and said, "Yep, that's Freya." But here, we can be summoned to assist Needle Knight Leda, or we can be summoned to assist Sir Ansbach. Which is rough, because I really like both of these NPCs. But I went red last time, I'm gonna go red this time. Partially to stay consistent, and partially because Leda uses a light greatsword.
I will dispose of you. I find that I have a new apprehension. Your ambivalence, and exactly where it might lead you.
So, you would cull an old man such as I. You are thorough indeed, Lady Leda. I would expect nothing less. As you surmise, I do have my doubts, and will not simply lay down and die with them.
You've come again, have you? Thank you. Now go and make yourself useful.
Alright, so thankfully he's sitting back and shooting with a bow, meaning we could sit back and listen to all the dialogue. Also,
so you've taken Lady Leda's side. I'm glad she stands with an ally. She tends to overestimate the burden she might carry alone.
alright, but he has a very cool bow, and I'm assuming that was his skill where he did like a spread shot shotgun.
I have utterly failed you both, Mickle and kind. Lord Moog.
Thank you for all that you have done, Sir Ansbach.
Okay. I kind of feel bad, because we really just pinned him in a corner and bullied him. Ooh, we got his bow, though. So we got Ansbach's attire, along with Ansbach's longbow. So we can do this. I mean, we can put on his longbow. It requires 43 dexterity. Ooh. Good on him. Yeah, I really like his outfit. Especially the, like, little half cape. It looks really good. And I'm not a fan of hair on helmets, but this one isn't bad. like the 4 eyes. But the descriptions... Alright, so the boots and manchettes are the same. So boots of Sir Ansbach, black leather adorned with gold embroidery, slightly enhances blood oath and dynastic skills. Okay. And then the attire. Attire of Sir Ansbach, the embroidered crest of the Pure Blood Knights has all but faded away, slightly enhances blood oath and dynastic skills. Ansbach understood that keeping his oath to his old master was not an act of logic, nor would it bear any justice, but it was for these very reasons he was unable to let go. And then the mask. The iron mask of Sir Ansbach giving the appearance of a quiet, wise, old bearded man. But an old fear lurks beneath, together with the cold, unflinching discipline that once honed his blade, now employed to enhance blood oath and dynastic skills. Okay. So, if you want to use blood oath or dynastic skills, this armor set is good. And I mentioned multiple times, like with the horn set and with the dancer set, that by the time you get this far into the game, these lighter armor sets basically become obsolete because they just don't have the damage negation that is required. But this enhancing skills, like having some secondary effect, that puts that above the others in my eyes, which is something we can get back to in a minute. First, weapon of Sir Ansbach, a longbow consisting of 2 bow bodies and 2 strings. Unusually for a longbow, it can be wielded similarly to a light bow, provided that the wielder has extraordinary dexterity demanded. A unique skill, fan shot. The skill uses the bow held horizontally, readies 8 arrows at once, fire them in a fan-shaped arc. So I was right about that. Good. But yeah, that's something that I mentioned, or at least I've thought about. I don't know if I've actually mentioned it, but I've certainly thought about it for light shields or small shields. Is in the previous games, small shields are basically worthless, but in Elden Ring, most of them have some kind of secondary effect. Like, they boost your focus, or they boost your immunity. Something like that. And it's not enough to make them viable, in my opinion, but it's a step in the right direction. And I really appreciate that. And so seeing that Sir Ansbach's set does it, really like that. Really like fighting these guys, even though he took over half his health immediately. But the second thing that I was going to say is I've been playing, like I said, online on a second character. And I mentioned that we'd go back to the light armor sets. And, oh boy. So, I wear the Beast Champion set on the other character as well, because it's just such a really good defensive set. And I also like how the cape looks. But, oh boy. I was helping with Mesmer a lot because I really wanted to learn him, and I did learn one thing. With his big skill attack where he, like, does the Beyblade spin towards you and then does the rapid pokes, where he pokes like 10 times in quick succession, you want to roll into that like a Bloodborne boss would do. So rolling into that is the play. But the second thing I learned was that this DLC kind of isn't balanced. Which I kind of got that already. Like I said, the big troll orc enemies, whatever you call them. I point it out every time I see them, where I can walk up, one-hand a greatsword and just... and they die. It stun locks them, they die, they have too little health, they have too little poise. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. They're too easy. But then something I noticed is... like, Mesmer is too hard. And I'm not saying that these games should be easy, but I'm saying that he's too hard. And what I've seen on X, formerly Twitter, is whenever people say the game is too hard, everyone says the same two things. Either one, use the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, or two, I don't have any, but Erdtree blessings. And I do find it kind of sad because on my other character, the one where I was fighting Mesmer, helping people with that, I had the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman on for the highest amount of physical damage negation. I had the Pearl Drake Talisman +3 on for the highest amount of non-physical damage negation because he does fire damage. And I had the Flame Drake Talisman +3 on for the highest amount of fire damage negation because, again, he does fire damage. And I had the Beast Champion set on, which is one of the heaviest, most defensive sets in the entire game. Maybe not for fire, but for physical. Like, as you can see here, this is like 2.6 higher and still not as good for physical. This is 6.5 higher on the weight, but only 1.2 higher on the physical. And only like 0.7 or 0.8 higher on the fire. So the Beast Champion set is one of the best defensive sets you can have. So I had 3 of the top defensive talismans. I had one of the top defensive armor sets. I had 60 points into the health stat. And I had 11 Erdtree blessings. And I was getting 2-shot by the boss. Trying to help other people. And it got to the point where I was having to tell people, like, I'm somewhat decent at these games, but that's just unfair. And he has so much speed, so much aggression, so much, like, hyper mobility, because he was doing attacks where he would go from one side of the arena to the other side of the arena and take 60-70% of my health in a single attack. Pretty much instantly. And then he would instantly follow it up with another attack, and then he'd have another attack that was delayed or goes into the air, which messes up the camera, which makes it difficult to see. And so there was just a lot of problems. And it got to the point where I had to tell people, like, we're getting pretty far because we were pretty consistently getting to phase 2. But I had to tell people, like, I'm decently good, but this is just unbalanced. Just summon Mimic here. Because even though they can't dodge as well or do as much damage and they aren't as aggressive, they can survive 2 hits. And so when people say, oh, just use the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, that doesn't work as a defense because I was. And when people say, oh, just have Erdtree blessings, I had 11. Not 11 of the item, but I had cashed in the blessing 11 times. So those arguments just don't work because I did them, and I was still getting two-shot. And mind you, this character is level 188. The other character I was using is way higher. They're like 290. Because they have 60 points into health. They have like 55 endurance, I believe. 55 or 60. And then they have, I believe, 60 strength. And like 50 dexterity. And my damage was still kind of low. But I don't have a problem with damage. Like, I could be doing 1 point of damage. And that'd be completely fine for me. Because the more health or defense a boss has, just means that you have to perform longer. You just have to do well longer. And you still have your flasks. Whereas if you get two-shot, or effectively one-shot, because there were points where I was being effectively one-shot, like where I'd get hit once, stunned for so long, again, with the Beast Champion set, which has 72 poise. So I'd be hit once, stunned for so long that they'd hit me a second time, which would then kill me. So not a one-shot, but effectively a one-shot. Again, with the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, Pearl Drake Talisman +3, and Flame Drake Talisman +3, and 60 points into the health stat, and 11 Scadutree Blessings. So, like I said, that defense just doesn't work because it just isn't true. Unless I magically missed like 30 Scadutree fragments. Which would be insane. Yeah, like I said, I don't think the DLC is balanced because a lot of the enemies, in my opinion, are too weak. But there are some bosses that are just a bit too strong. Unlike, again, I believe their name is Romina. They were a lot more balanced. But anyways, something else I noticed while heading through was this. And I didn't go down it because the person I was helping didn't go into the church district to lower the water yet. But I saw the ladder. And that's another reason I came here. Though that being said, this is entirely new territory for me. So, I don't know what we're gonna run into. Painting. Domain of Dragons painting. Alright. Starting from this painter is said to have captured the landscapes seen during the last moments of those who welcomed into death's embrace. The soul of the painter and vestiges of the dead's last moments can be discovered by visiting the location depicted even now. I forgot that all of these say the same thing. Right, but we have found 3 paintings now. I don't remember which one, but I did find one. Might have been this one, but I'm not sure. The second one we haven't found, and we just got this one. Though, considering it says Domain of Dragons, I assume it's going to be somewhere around here. Or here. Considering there's a giant dragon here and there's the Grand Altar of Dragon Communion. That being said, I was kind of expecting there to be more here. Considering there's this area and this area and this area that I still have not figured out how to get to yet. So I was kind of expecting this to lead down into here or into here. But I suppose not. For this, I'm not going to go on a wild goose chase looking for a painting while recording. Instead, we can head off to the Church of the Bud, and we can just continue on from there. Actually, no. First, we can go visit Leda and then Dryleaf Dane, because Dryleaf Dane helped us with that boss. So, he might have something to say. Maybe not, but worth a try, I think.
Ah, there you are. I owe you for your help in battle. Once again. None can deny Sir Ansbach was a truly great man. We can be proud that we were the last opponents he ever faced.
Retaliatory cross tree. But she is right, he was a great man. He said, out of all the DLC NPCs, he was my second favorite behind Leda. And when it comes to allegiances, well, no, he liked Moog. I don't know enough about Mikola to go one way or another on whether he's good or not. Well, let's see. Enhances attacks executed after rolling or backstepping. Handicraft depicting a golden cross tree. One of the items conferred to the Needle Knights. Enhances attacks executed after rolling or backstepping. Long ago, the Needle Knights were in service of Mikola, but now they are no more, save for one. Alright, so those two attacks. I'm assuming it makes them do more damage. By a little bit. Okay. Anything new to say?
You are an odd one, aren't you? The enchantment is broken. And yet you alone appear completely unchanged. As if nothing was ever cast upon you. No matter. If you found your way here, it was because kindly Mikola wished it so. But I am afraid this is our farewell. When next we meet, let it be under the eyes of Mikola the Kind. Goodbye, comrade. I'm afraid this is our farewell, comrade. When next we meet, let it be under the eyes of Mikola the Kind.
So part of me is tempted to kill her now, because I want her armor set. But I also want to see, like, just maybe we might see her again. Maybe we'll get the armor set. And I don't want to make any hasty decisions. Oh, yep, she's gone now. So, we can now see if Dryleaf Dane has anything. Whether that be dialogue, an item, who knows, because, again, they helped us defeat a boss. So. Alright. I also don't know how to get over here. I'm starting to think that this, the like map fragment, is in the same place that this is. Like on the same elevation. But that's another area where I don't know how to get to it. So, who knows? I'm sure quite a few people at this point, but not me. But there was also a tower over there with an item at the top. And I said I was gonna go looking for that. Like looking how to get up there. I forgot about that, so whoops. But I don't imagine it'd be too important. Also, if you're wondering what the random, like, red slurps that go on, with the Blasphemous Blade, you get HP upon defeating an enemy, which is why I use it. Like, that, and the fact that it doesn't have a scabbard like most other greatswords are the two reasons I use it. Well, that and it's a greatsword, which is just the best weapon class. It actually has nothing to do with the Taker's Flame skill, because if you watch my run, I very rarely use it. Which I know that it got nerfed, but this is the character I used in the preparing for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC run, and I very rarely used it in that as well, so like I said, I don't really use this for the skill. I use it for the HP regen upon killing enemies. But you may notice sometimes we get that little red slurp. Oh, that's strange. Anyway, sometimes we get that even without killing an enemy. And you can tell that it's not an enemy just dying randomly because we don't get any runes. And I don't know for sure, but I think the reason that happens is because the enemies are despawning and that counts as a kill. Or counts enough. Again, I don't know for sure, but that seems like it makes sense. Also, examine ceiling tree. So I mean, we're right here on the map, so I assumed the ceiling tree was here. Because it was like the mantle of thorns and barbs and whatnot. But we had to defeat Mesmer to get the thing. Here, burns the ceiling tree. So we can do that now. Alright, the architecture of that, we're here now. But the architecture of that gave me like a mixture of Lanedale and Crumbling Fair Missoula vibes. Lanedale, I think, because of the color palette, and Crumbling Fair Missoula because like everything was like floating and like half-made looking. I suppose would be the way to say it. But Inir Ilim. Hi. Sir, please don't use magic. Magic is a coward game, so please get down. Oh yeah. But if the quality of this area also resembles Lanedale and Crumbling Fair Missoula, then that will be a very, very, very good thing. I don't know why there's a mini staircase. I like it. This might just be a me thing, because I do have very strange tastes in some things. But spiral staircases, I don't know what it is about them, but spiral staircases are a lot more interesting to me than normal staircases. Bazoo. Oh, site of grace. Which way is the site of grace? Who knows? It's this way. This place looks very clean, and that makes me strangely uncomfortable. I don't know what it is about it, but overly clean areas make me anxious. So anyways, in FromSoft games, I feel like it might be a thing of it's not destroyed enough, which means that it hasn't seen combat. So that means that everyone is probably at the top of their game. I don't know if this is an invisible thing or not. I'm not gonna try it. I am absolutely not going to try it. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it might be just like a fear of gravity because of how strong gravity is in this series. But invisible, like floors, invisible walkways, they always get me. And I can never tell where they are. This might be a shortcut elevator. Oh, no, the elevator's here already. Good to know. Are we going up? We are not. Oh. Okay. Belarut. Tower Settlement. Oh. We're here. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know that those two things link up. That's nice. Anyways. I wonder if that means that you can go after the dancing lion from this way. I don't know, but like I said, I think that overly clean areas are just like, it hasn't seen enough combat, and so everything is at the top of their game. Or it could be like, it should be peaceful, but you're so used to combat that you're like, where are the enemies? And the enemies typically... Hi. See what I mean? When I talk about how I think the balancing is all whacked up in the DLC, it's like the basic enemies are too easy. Anyways, back to what I was saying before. The enemies in these areas, it's either they don't fight like you're used to, or they aren't the type of enemies that you're used to. So in like Dark Souls 1, for example, when you get to Anor Londo, because Anor Londo is another thing like this, where you're used to fighting like hollows and like dogs, but then you get to Anor Londo and it's... Oh, there's a gap there. But you get to Anor Londo and it's like, boom, you're now facing professionally trained knights from the army of Gwyn. Hi. Well, thank you for not taking that opportunity to all smack me in the back of the head. 'Tis appreciated. I'm now going to take this opportunity to smack you all in the back of the head. But, like, this is a big enemy as well. I walked up, one-handing a greatsword, didn't even dodge half the time. I just spammed R1 and got out of that fight perfectly fine, and I'm full health. Like, that's too easy. I should have been punished. If I'm not rolling through attacks, and I'm just spamming R1, the basic light attack, especially on big enemies like that, I should be getting punished. But I'm just not. And I feel like that's a bit of a balancing problem, where it's like, it's too easy. See, like, I'm just walking up to enemies, I'm tanking hits to the face, I'm just spamming light attacks, and I'm walking away from each and every fight at full health. No need to drink Estus. or the odd flask of Crimson Tears. No need to worry about health. Which, yeah, that is because Blasphemous Blade gives HP regen, Taker's Cameo gives HP regen, Blessed Do Talisman, and Icon Shield, along with Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, one of the best defensive sets in the game, and 60 points in the health stat, along with however many Scadutree Blessings I have in this character. So it's like, yeah, I do have a lot of things keeping my health and defense and HP regen up, but still, these basic enemies, even some of the big enemies, feel too easy. But then you get to some of the bosses, and the difficulty just ramps up. I mean, it absolutely skyrockets to unbelievable levels. And it just feels like such a weird duality, where things go from being too easy, too easy, too easy, too easy, too easy, then you hit a boss and suddenly it becomes way too hard. To Revered Spirit Ash. Like I said, it just feels so weird. I feel like the enemies and the areas should be more difficult, and the bosses should be a wee bit less difficult. And that less difficult part is purely in the damage. Like, take Mesmer, for example. His hypermobility, totally fine. His hyper-aggression, totally fine. Him having a decent bit of health, totally fine. It's just the high damage that I have a problem with. Because it's like, you have 14 flasks of Crimson Tears. But if you die so quickly that you aren't able to use them, then what's the point of having them? And we can probably... Oh, we can definitely jump onto that. That kind of looks like the way to go. Because this kind of looks like you drop onto this, you follow it up there, drop onto that, and then drop down onto that. So, yeah, and then come back here. Yeah, so I think that this is like a self-looping optional section. Yeah, like I said, glass cannon bosses are totally fine. Like, high damage, high aggression, high mobility, but low health. Spira. Alright, this is an incantation, requires 48 faith, takes 10 FP, summons a spiral of light that erupts at enemies' feet. Superior sorcery, it's an incantation, of the Tower Priest wielded as an incantation of the spiral, wraps one's arms together and hold them up to the heaven to summon a spiral of light that erupts at the enemy's feet. A column of light persists for as long as the button is pressed. The spiral is normalized crucible currents that one day will form a column that stretches to the gods. I am 6 faith away from being able to wield that, which that can be done with equipment. So I can show that off. We're fine. I mean, we're 50 minutes in, and I try to keep things around an hour preferably ever so slightly less. So we're probably going to stop this at, like, the next site of grace. Ooh. Okay. You die, I got the Divine Beast Helm. A helm of tangled horn attached to a Divine Beast mask, allowing the wearer to invoke divinity. Worn by Divine Beast warriors, the chosen of the Horned Warriors, Divine Invocation heightens intensity of the storm alongside strength and dexterity, but reduces the restorative effect of drinking from a flask of sacred tears. Focus is also troubled. Alright, so strength and dexterity both go up by 3 points if you wear this, but you get less HP and FP from your flasks. And you also lose focus, which is for sleep and madness. Cool. But yeah, that's more what I'm talking about. In terms of, like, how the difficulty should be. Where it's like, I couldn't just walk up and one-hand R1 spam. That guy would have clobbered me senseless. Like, I had to two-hand, had to, like, actually roll, utilize strong attacks, stance break him. Like, I actually had to focus on fighting the enemy when it was my first time fighting. Ow. Ow. But yeah, that enemy, when I say that the basic enemies and the areas should be more difficult, that's what I'm talking about. Where it's not unfair, it's not overpowered, but if you just hold forward and light attack, you're going to be punished. That's how I think it should be. And the enemies? Inquisitor Ashes. It takes 93 FP. The Inquisitor hags wield barbed candlesticks. One of the Inquisitors casts a tower hex to heal HP, while the hex of the other boosts her own attack power. Inquisitors, or Inquisitions, I can't read, often perplexed the minds of the uninitiated, and so seniority was viewed as an asset. Alright, so they're 2 spellcasters. 1 for health, 1 for damage. Elmy bones. That's an item. There's no shot we drop down onto that and then drop down over there. Oh my god, there's another item. I'm thinking that's what the game wants us to do. The game has absolutely lost its marbles. Let's do it. Oh, we can... Ooh. Very anxiety-inducing. There's nothing here, is there? Nope. Alright, so... we can drop down onto here. Yeah, like, this is really... Ooh. But this is very creative level design. It is horrifying. 2 smithing stone 8. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Very anxiety-inducing. Very creative. I like it a lot. This way? And then we probably go up. And so naturally we go down. Because the way of progress should always be the way taken last. Okay. Good, 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 good. Where do we go from here? Unless we're meant to go down. And we're meant to... Well, there is an item there. Yep. I looked at that and went, that's an item. Well, Elden Ring takes quite a lot from Dark Souls 2, from what I can gather, as someone who does not play Dark Souls 2. But Elden Ring takes quite a bit from Dark Souls 2. And so you just have to ask yourself, what would Dark Souls 2 do? The game does not want me to jump that. God. Belarut. Towers. Or Belarot. I keep thinking Belarut. And I don't know why. You are not... See, look at that. Look at that. See, beautiful. I was two-handing as well. But just spamming the light attacks. And they hit me. Here's an elevator. What was over here? Also an elevator. Well, that feels more important, so I'm gonna go with the smaller one first. Because that's more likely to lead to a dead end. Probably. I don't think we're gonna keep this under an hour. Inir Ilim. Alright, and that drops us back to where we were before. Okay, so we can go to the other place first. But yeah, this is very creative level design. And that scorpion, that's more of what the difficulty should be. Where you can't just mindlessly tap the light attack button. You actually have to, like, watch what the enemy is doing and think and react properly instead of just attack, 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 attack. That's how the difficulty should be, in my opinion. Hey. One-handed we three-shot, so... Two-handed it is. There's that guy, and... Oh. I saw this out of the corner of my eye and thought that it was like a staircase down. Oh. Ow. I feel like those two swings should have both hit me. I feel like they both should have hit me. But, okay, I guess. Another elevator. How far are we going? Also, I don't have a torch. I do have this. How much that actually helps, I don't know. Oh, that's the poison area. I actually learned that I apparently missed something there. I'm pretty sure I missed something there at least. Oh, orange item. That's usually something good. Euporia. Twin blade. Yes. Strength, dexterity, and faith-based physical and holy damage. Twin blade. Twin blade symbolizing abundance. The secret treasure of the tower. Though the blade fashioned from golden shoots are largely wilted and darkened, their luster can be restored by dealing damage to foes. What does that mean? Does that mean that they'll do, like, more damage as you do more damage? I don't know, but... However, dealing damage to those who live in death will have no such effect. Okay. Still don't know what that means, but okay. And then unique skill. Oh, it's not Europa, I can't read. Euporia Vortex is the unique skill. Using the power of the vortex, violently twirl the armament, dealing multiple slashes directly ahead. The greater the restored luster of the blade, the greater the power of the skill. However, use of the skill will fully consume the blade's luster. Ooh. So, we can look at its moveset. Okay, so that's the light attack. This is the heavy attack, charged heavy attack. Backstep. Ooh, poke. Roll. Jump light. Jump heavy. Running light. Running heavy. And then two-handed, the light combo. And then heavy attack. And then charged heavy. And then roll. Backstep. Running light. Running heavy. Jumping light. And jumping heavy. Alright. Very cool. It's up here. Alright, so... That's very nice. Glad I went this way, because I really, really like twin blades. And... Alright, so that is an interesting skill of, like, the more you attack an enemy, the more it builds up, like, some kind of power. And then you can use your unique skill, and the more... This was the elevator, right? Yeah, I don't know why it didn't go at first. But the more power you have built up, the more damage the skill will do, but it'll take all of that power. Again, I don't know what the power does. The luster, it was called. I don't know what that does. Does it, like, increase damage? Does it just make the weapon glow? Does it make the weapon look different? Is it purely used for the skill? Like, what's the point of that? I don't know. But back to this area. This is where we fought the big guy, and I said, yes, this is how difficulty should be in my eyes. This is how that's good. It's not too easy like most of the enemies. It's not too hard like a few of the bosses. And down there is where we left off, and... Yow! Jesus Christ! Is that the person up there? Ooh. That's really just a flask sink, isn't it? Jeez. We gotta get up there and kill them. Oh, Son of Grace. Good. I was wondering. Skidoo tree fragment. I abandon here all of my fears. Okay. Son of Grace. And we can end it here. So, in this part, what have we gotten? We've gotten the Euporia twin blade weapon. It looks very cool. I know that we've gotten at least one sorcery or incantation. Yeah, Spira. Is that all we've gotten? I think so. Now, it takes 48. But I know that there's a helmet that gives you faith. I don't know if we have it. Yes, we do. So, we can throw this on because it gives us extra faith. And we can throw this on, and we can now use Spira. Ah, so it's the thing that they've been using on us. So, I don't know if that has a maximum range or not. I mean, it almost certainly has a maximum range, but I don't know how much range it has, is what I'm saying. But still, we've gotten the Spira incantation. We have gotten the Euporia twin blade weapon. Oh yeah, we also got Ansbach's longbow, along with Ansbach's attire, his armor set, which boosts blood oath and dynastic skills and also looks very cool. We also got the retaliatory crossed tree talisman. We continued Leda's quest line. We got the divine beast helmet. We got Fire Knight Hilde and Inquisitor ashes, so 2 new Spirit Ashes. And on top of that, we also got a new painting that we can look out for sometime. So, very good progress. I'm very happy with that. Oh yeah, we also found an entirely new area in Inir Ilim. A new massive looking legacy dungeon. So, very happy with that. Very good progress today. And, yeah.